From the studios of Farm Journal Broadcast, this is U.S. Farm Report.
Welcome to U.S. Farm Report this weekend. I'm Tyne Morgan, and here's what's in store over the next 60 minutes. USDA shocking the market this week with a couple big surprises in corn.
That's enough to be considered a game changer on its own. You didn't really need to change the yield much to have that be a factor for these markets going forward.
But soybean prices surged on other surprising news earlier in the week. Cattle markets have been crushing records lately.
It is tightest going back 60 or 70 years, depending which inventory number you look at.
But the question on everyone's minds, how long can it last? And this area of California grows half the nation's nuts and fruits.
Of the U.S. supply, like I said, 95%, that represents about 70 to 75% of the world's supply.
We'll show you why pistachios are so popular and why one California grower is on the quest to grow the perfect peach. Now for the news, if USDA predictions hold true, a massive record-breaking U.S. corn crop is on the way. The agency releasing new supply and demand numbers based on actual farmer surveys this week. USDA projecting a corn yield of a record 188.8 bushels per acre. That's up 7.8 bushels over last month. And the production estimate is 16.7 billion bushels, another record. That's up 1 billion from last month. And for soybeans, it's projecting yields of 53.6 bushels per acre, up more than a bushel from last month, with production of 4.3 billion bushels, down 43 million. We're going to have much more on these numbers and the surprise when it came to corn acreage. That's coming up in our marketing roundtable discussion. USDA's record 16.7 billion bushel corn crop estimate, well, that drew fire from farm groups, including the National Corn Growers Association. They question the accuracy of the agency's yield projections that are not based on field data at this point, and asked for solutions to blunt the threat to the livelihood of farmers already facing record low prices. As a result of the record supply, the agency did lower the national average corn price estimate.
USDA also reduced their projected market year average price for 2025 crop from $4.20 down to $3.90. That would be the lowest market year average we've had since 2019.
At the 181 bushel level, we were going to need $4.95 on average for the average farmer to break even. If you add this 7.8 bushels an acre, you still need $4.75 to break even.
The bleak outlook has NCGA issuing a call to action from Congress and the Trump administration, including year-round E15, which could use an estimated 457 million bushels of corn. Well, soybean futures did slide Thursday, but futures got a shot in the arm earlier in the week, jumping double digits on Monday. And it was all thanks to a social media post from President Trump. The president posting this on his Truth Social site, urging China to quadruple its soybean buys ahead of a key tariff truce deadline. The president saying, quote, "This is also a way of substantially reducing China's trade deficit with the USA. Rapid service will be provided. Thank you, President Xi," end quote. It comes at a time when Beijing's imports of U.S. soybeans are significantly lower. As of August 11th, China had not bought 1 bushel of U.S. soybeans, which is something we have not seen since 2010.
I'm not finding any evidence of Chinese asking for offers, much less making any purchases. So at the moment, it seems to be a challenge by President Trump to the Chinese to say, hey, you need to buy more U.S. soybeans and see where that goes.
Bossie says it's more likely the president was front running and leveraging his approval of the tariff extension, which was renewed this week. Well, it's official. EPA is rolling out a new rule when it comes to the diesel exhaust fluid system on farm equipment and other heavy-duty vehicles. The new rule goes into effect immediately for all new diesel engines on model year 2027 machines. For equipment already out in the field, EPA's new guidance will work to ensure necessary software changes can be made. Administrator Lee Zeldin says now all equipment must be configured so there is no impact on engine power for up to 36 hours when a DEF system malfunction occurs. That's it for the news. Well, until this week, this summer hasn't really felt like summer for some, and more mild temperatures, well, those may be on the way. We explore the upcoming forecast with Brian Bledsoe next.
U.S. Farm Report is brought to you by Pioneer, the #1 corn and soybeans in the U.S. proven genetics and performance you can trust. Plant with confidence. Plant Pioneer.